Let's get this jabroni on because, we may as well have had Emerson Royale at right back, how poor Porro played today. So let's bring him on. How you doing, Barry?
What's up, Buzzer?
Wow, big up everybody. Tottenham Hotspur, the gift that keeps on giving. Another Halloween nightmare.
They ain't giving gifts to us, mate. That's for sure.
Well, they're giving gifts everywhere else. They're giving
Yeah.
gifts to the Frank out brigade. They're giving gifts to you and Sim are in the mud because you obviously were talking up Xavi Simons, who at the moment, I hate to say it, is not a Premier League player by any stretch of the imagination. He's weak. He's just low in confidence. The system isn't suiting him. He just needs to have a rest. And you wouldn't have seen this, Ben, but and you will see it later. There's a tweet. Jed Spence and Mickey van der Ven completely ignored Frank when they went off the pitch at full time.
Really?
Yeah, Amir just put it in the group. Completely. Not only did they ignore him, Jed Spence just walked past and went like that as if he was going to shake his hand. And Frank's just looking at both him and Mickey van der Ven, and they just blanked him and just walked off.
Bloody hell!
So look, it was a nightmare. We had a look, Vicario. If we start from the back, Vicario, for all the hate and all the everything that he's been getting from his shot stopping the last few weeks, shot stopping wise, absolutely not an issue. Passing the ball out from the back, I mean, we saw near the end he was just kicking the ball forward and it just wasn't happening. But without him, that game's probably 4-5, 6-0, right? Yeah. So, Van der Ven just looked without... I mean, it's amazing. Romero comes on and he's probably our best player, which is ironic because it's a London derby and everyone else should be up for it. I think, obviously, people have been making excuses all this time. Oh, why is Sarr not playing? Why is Bergvall not playing? Why is Odebear not playing? Well, we saw today why they're not playing. All right, correct. Bergvall went off because of his thing. Sarr was anonymous. These players simply aren't good enough for the way that Frank wants to play football and for the way that we need to play football. And I think that's what we need to remember. We think we see a good game. Oh my God, this player's amazing. We see another game. Oh my God, and we were all having a ding dong. Me and Brains were having a ding dong about it the other day. They're just not good enough, these players. Porro, I mean, Brains summed it up earlier. He said he's been 3 or 4 out of 10 all season, and that was his worst performance today. Yeah. He's not been great all season. I think Spence, I don't know whether it's been since he's been called up to the England squad. He looks a shadow of his former self from weeks back. Bentancur, it was a naughty tackle. I know you guys were saying it was a red. On another day it probably was. But you could argue, what was it, Enzo on Palhinha? I think on another day that could have been a red. But it's just, when you're bringing on Richarlison, when you're bringing on a Brennan Johnson, when you're bringing on these players and you just think, well, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to change this game. They're not going to have an impact. And obviously, Xavi Simons, the substitute, got substituted. And that's not going to help him by any stretch of the imagination. I think we've got a massive week coming up, and I don't think it's going to get any better. Just thankfully, Man United didn't get that 4th win in a row, and old matey boy would have probably been there cutting his hair on next weekend against Man United, because they definitely would have got the 5th win in a row if that would have happened. But we say it all the time, right? We wanted patience. There's people calling, at least we gave it a go. You can't really disagree last season. Sims probably sat there going, well, at least under Ange, we gave it a go. With 9 men, we gave it a go against Chelsea this time last season.
2 years ago.
But it's 2 years ago, sorry. Yeah, but I don't know what to say anymore. I just think this is what we're going to see, these performances week in, week out. And it's not going to be until January. I think it's going to be until the summer, until we get more players in. The first
Barry, I get what you're saying about the play. You know, some of the players not being good enough, which is fair enough. But do you not think that Frank should be getting a lot more out of them? Because to create a 0.05 xG today, the lowest ever on record in the Premier League since records began in 2012, like no matter who you got on the pitch, that is nowhere near good enough.
No, it's not. Look, it's not good enough. That's why XG is nonsense, right? That's why I think it's nonsense.
You're the wrong person to ask about XG.
Say to Josh King, that's why XG is nonsense. But
Barry, I'm with you on that. XG, I can't stand it.
But look, at the end of the day, it isn't good enough from Frank. It's not good enough from these players. It's not good enough from everyone. I think. Do you know what? I think the other thing that's not helped, and it's not about making excuses, but Levy's gone. But it's actually got worse. Like, you'd think that it would actually get better, but it's gone the other way.
There hasn't been a transfer window since Levy, so that we can't judge.
And we went about 6-7 games winless. Undefeated. And then
look, I'm not. But this stadium, these players, they've still got Levy's claws or Levy's DNA associated with them. That stadium, we've won 3 games in a whole year. In that stadium, a whole year, 19 games, half a season, a whole year, 3 games of football. There's something, and I get what you were saying about the fans; they were loud and everything else. I didn't think they were anything different than for the first 10, 15, 20 minutes maybe, but after that, when we started to do the usual things that we start to do, and the crowd start getting on their back, and the crowd start booing at half time, booing at full time. Again, it's another opportunity where we try and do something good, and the players and this football club just keep on giving. We're the gift that keeps on giving. My phone, and probably yours the same, has not stopped from every other fan. Nothing surprises me anymore with this lot, you know. And it's how many times are we going to say? It's the same thing. It's the same. It doesn't matter who the manager is. It doesn't matter if there's different players. It's the same thing that's happening year after year after year. And again, the whole thing, Frank is under so much pressure.
Yep. And
I don't know. I'm lost for words in where we go from here. We need a reaction against Copenhagen, but is he going to rotate because he's thinking about Man United? We know historically going into a game before an international break, we don't win. Man United have shown in the last 4 games. I mean, are they second in the table still, or are they third in the table? I mean, it's ridiculous. I just feel that if we go into that international break based on what we've seen tonight. What we've seen from the players coming off the pitch, especially Spence and Van der Ven, and what we see on the pitch in terms of results, we could look. We're not in a look. It's not doom and gloom, right? And we're a million miles away from where we were last season. But something has to change at home because it's just not good enough. Something has to change with these players, and for the fans that are going week in week out, the ones that are paying their money, let's make it like an away game. Because if that's the only way that stadium changes, if it's like an away game. And if anyone's been to an away game, it is non-stop. And you hear the fans over the home fans the whole time. And I don't know how you replicate that. Because I'm sorry, there are people there that didn't. There's so many people. I'm ill. I can't go. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing all the other things. People are making excuses not to come. And you can't tell me it's because Sonny's not playing and a lot of South Koreans are not there. You cannot tell me that is the only reason why the stadium's not been, the stadium atmosphere has not been great ever since, we've been there. We've all seen it. The only time that stadium was rocking was that first North London derby. And that's how it should be every single week.
Yeah, yep. I completely agree with that. But after all this doom and gloom, we are still sitting third in the table, which is crazy to think about. Look, we're third, and Manchester United are sixth, and we're all on 17 points. So we actually go into that Man United game next weekend on the same points as them. And you know what comes up after that, Barry? After that international break, we go away to the Emirates.
Well, look, What was it? 0.05 xg. I think we could. Is it possible to get minus xg?
No, Barry, we're away. We're away. The away record and the away form will come in. But Barry,
Hey, I think Arsenal have conceded. They conceded. They were talking about their first shot that they conceded on target today. That's how bad it's got for, or good it's got for Arsenal, but bad for every opposition. They're not talking about chances. They're talking about actual shots on their goal. Like, it's mental, right? Sorry, Brian. What were you going to say?
Yeah, no, I was going to say, Barry, what do you reckon the answer is in this midfield? Because we've got, as much as we could talk about Mawani's not getting the service. Richarlison hasn't really offered much. Tell the same. Getting it onto the kudu. There's got to be a midfield three. Or even, does he need to change to three? Do we need to go five at the back so there's more, and then the Porro and Destiny can start flying up that wing, or Porro and, Spence and Destiny? Or is it wholesale changes at midfield?
No, I think, like I said, I just our best two. I put a Ben can say I put a thing in the pick that our actual best progressive passing midfielder is Yves Bissouma, based on the last two seasons. Bentancur and Paulinho are our best based. If we're talking about stats, like, they're the best two. You could probably argue that they probably are, but that doesn't mean that they're the best. That doesn't mean that they're great. I'm not saying by any means that they're great, but unfortunately, without a James Maddison, without a Kulu, who has a bit of fight about him. Kulu is not someone that, that is, if we're talking about a Xavi Simons on the other side, he's not someone that is like really well built, but he's just strong. Xavi Simons isn't strong, and I just think that we need Kulu back. Some people may disagree and say, "Oh well, he's not good enough." Maybe he's not, but from what we've got now, I think Frank has identified that Polina and Bentancur are the best two, but you can't play them every game because we've got so many games that are coming thick and fast. Whatever's happened at the start, you're dropping a Bergvall in, you're dropping a Pape Matar in. I think he'll probably do. I think Bergvall will probably start on Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever we're playing, because he obviously hasn't played today. I just don't think we don't have out of all of those players. Look at what I've just said: Bergvall, Paulinho, Pape Matar, and Bentancur. None of them are players that can get hold of the ball, pass the ball forward, pass the ball. Create a creative. You've got Xavi Simons that's new to the Premier League. Tell is arguably worse than Timo Werner. You got Brennan Johnson that doesn't even look like he's on the football pitch when he comes onto the football pitch, and you've got that dead pigeon up top that spends more time rolling around on the floor, which he did again today, and just getting pushed off the ball. We haven't even got to Solanke and everything else because, again, what's happening with him? But that midfield, just when you look at those players without a James Maddison. And we only really get 30% of a James Maddison a season, right? Because he's either 30% good, 30% bad, and 30% injured. But a 30% bad James Maddison is still better than what we've got in that midfield at the moment. And I think, unfortunately, we know we're not going to see him. We're going to have to wait for Kulu, and then we're going to have to see if we do, I don't know, we do something, but January's not going to be the answer. We're going to see more and more. Sadly, we're going to see more and more performances like this until we get knocked out of the FA Cup or we don't go through in the Champions League, and then we'll go back to how we were. One game a week, we'll be fine. One game a week, and then the players will come back, and then that. Do you know what I mean? It's just so frustrating because, like you said, we are third in the league. But the performances don't show. I don't know. Do they want us to be? Do the fans want us to be? Do they want us to be winning games 4 or 5-0? Because you've seen at the moment, Arsenal are top of the league and they're winning 1 and 2-0. I mean, we're not even creating chances to get to that point. But it's not exciting football. There's not teams blowing other teams away. Tomorrow, what have we got? Potentially, we could still be third tomorrow. After all the games, because Sunderland at Everton on Monday night, Bournemouth are playing City.
Yep,
Could still be in third. I mean, Liverpool playing now. They, it depends. That's got a draw written all over it.
I think it matters if we're third or not, because we actually want City and Liverpool to start winning. So someone go challenge Arsenal for this title, because at the moment Arsenal are just running away with it. And if we're third at this stage of the season, it doesn't really matter. Like, everything's so tight and so close together. Like, we need to start seeing performances and we need to start seeing results on a consistent basis, and we're just not seeing that.
But could you imagine Arsenal being, if City win, they'll be 6 points behind them. 6 points. It's just a real worry. We're doing the same thing. 10 games gone, 28 to go, and we're worrying about Arsenal winning the league.
Yeah.
And that we've got so many more problems. And I said, Levy's gone. We've got all these all this announcement, all these people coming in, player profiles, coaches, medical team, everything else. But there is, I don't know, that ground is like on some Indian voodoo burial ground, man. There's something going on with all of that crushed up, all of the stuff underneath the flooring that was from White Hart Lane.
The aggregate.
The aggregate, that's the word. That's the thank you, Brian. The
My
aggregate,
pleasure.
I don't know, something was sprinkled in there, and someone needs to just come and, I don't know, get rid of all these bad vibes or what have you. But I don't know. Do you know what? It could turn sour very, very quickly if we get an absolute pacing at the Emirates.
Well, yeah.
That's the worry.
You know what it is as well, and you mentioned about other things. I think this is, with this being the first couple of windows that we'll have without Levy, I think ENIC probably planned to get in some real quality in the summer, whether it be multiple players or just one or two in the summer, and try and do something in January to paper over the cracks. I think they need to go big in January, whether it's a hard window or not. They need to show that they mean business and bring in some pure quality that walk into this squad and say, right, this is our intentions, this is what we're doing, because we can't wait until the summer. We cannot wait. I mean, obviously you get more time to get things done in the summer, and obviously it's easy to get the deals done. But I think they need to fast track what their plans are and really help break out in January.
Yeah, look, 100%. We know we need a left winger and a striker. There's a left winger that Ben's going to be shocked, who I'm going to mention, that could potentially come back and help us.
I'm not going to be shocked. I've been seeing this on the group, mate.
Bring Sonny home.
Bring him home.
Bring him home, and Frank, go and call up Ivan Toney and get him in January. I don't care.
100%.
Those two are what we need in January. And if we're really serious, and I mean really serious, then we go all out and we go and get Harry Kane back in the summer. Yep. I know he's probably not going to come this summer, but that's what we need to be doing, because look how much we miss those two. It's night and day between what we've got. We've got nothing up top. We got nothing. So
you know what, Nick, as well, you look at it, a Morgan Gibbs-White, an Adam Wharton, or a player of that ilk that has signed as the number 8. I know Morgan Gibbs-White hasn't been playing brilliantly this season, but obviously he doesn't want to be there. They would have been thriving in this team. They would have been thriving. Midfielders that we were linked to, that number 8. Like you said with Basuma being the progressive passer, I think Spurs missed out on a big thing there with the number 8. Obviously,
sliding doors. We could be sitting here tonight talking. If Morgan Gibbs-White had got over the line after everything, and we could be sitting here saying we're 2 points. We're 2 points behind Arsenal, going into the North London derby in a week's time, and all is good, and that's going to be a real humdinger. But unfortunately, we know what happened there. Look, if we're going to start, we want a European trophy. If we're going to start acting like a big club, then we need to start. If we want to be a big club and talking about being a big club and pretending that we're a big club, we need to start acting like a big club.
Correct.
Absolutely.
And I'll leave that with you boys.
Big up to you, Barry.
Yeah, look. At the end of the day, guys, we're not going to see amazing performances between now and Christmas. I don't think, but we need to stay patient, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yep.
Barry, thanks for coming on.
See you later, bro.
See you next time.
See you later.